I'm Keyshawn Johnson, and here on Audibles, I'll tell you why I think the Houston Texans will make some noise with T.J. Yates at quarterback.
Hi, I'm Jerry Rice, and I'll tell you why the Dallas Cowboys might be a little unsure of themselves right now.
And I'm Trent Dilfer, and I thought we'd try a new topic today. Why don't we talk about Tim Tebow? All that and a whole lot more coming up next on Audibles.
Welcome to Audibles, presented by Best Buy.
Live from LA Live in downtown Los Angeles, this is Audibles. I'm Keyshawn Johnson, and joining me this week is Trent Dilfer, Jerry Rice, and a special guest in former Kansas City Chiefs head coach Todd Haley. And before we get started, fellas, I want to ask Todd a little bit about Kansas City and what happened out there.
Well, Keyshawn, it was a great almost 3 years, and one that as a head coach, the best experience you can get is being a head coach. And, a lot of things I learned and a lot of things I'll take with me as I go forward. But, it was just one of those, it worked, but then it ended up not working out in the end. And, no ill will, just going forward, looking forward to the next opportunity.
And you will get some opportunities, I'm sure, because you're a really good football coach. Trent, tell us what this show is all about again.
Well, Todd, now you get to play analyst, but it's great because you're never wrong.
Waiting to do this.
Except everybody tells you you're always wrong. This fan is run by the shows. And run by the fans. You get to post questions on Twitter using the hashtag Audibles or our Facebook page at facebook.com/ESPN. They call the plays. And they can also post comments about the show and their favorite team. So let's get started with our first topic. Key. We got a Twitter one here. What will Tebow critics have to say if he manages to beat the Patriots?
Well, it could happen.
Yeah.
Do I think, I don't really know. I think the one thing that you got to look at in this football game with Tim Tebow, as always, he has to keep the game close. Now, that defense of the New England Patriots will allow that to happen based on their secondary. He can hit the receivers and he can do all sorts of things. And the critics are going to, have to, swallow their words and whatever else. It's a tough situation.
Come on, Keyshawn, why don't you say what you said before?
I know it. I just...
Say it. Yeah, go ahead.
It's not going to happen. So I'm not saying it on television because I don't think that... It's hard for me to digest that they can beat the New England Patriots.
Who cares about the critics? Mm-hmm. We're talking about Tim Tebow and what he has brought to the Denver Broncos. This team really believes in him. This defense is going out there, keeping them in the ball game. Then it's almost like you get Tebow mania all of a sudden towards the end. So who cares about the critic? I think with him also, it was all about he never listened to the critics. Mm-hmm. He didn't listen to John Elway. He goes out there and just win football games.
Well, and Todd told me this. I think there's a difference between the critics that have kind of already made up their mind. It doesn't matter what Tim Tebow does. And then those of us that just don't necessarily understand what we're seeing completely. You see certain traits, you see certain attributes that can be explained why he's successful. But then at the same time, you're seeing him do some stuff late in games, how you can turn the switch like that. I know personally, I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to open my mind that this may be a way.
I am too. I come to accept the fact that he's done things late in games to win the games. Early
I'll tell you from a perspective of a
coach.
You
got big, so you can tell us.
Just had to prepare a week for him, and it is a totally different week of preparation. It's from the look team and who you have running it. It's not your normal quarterback that's in there. You got a receiver in there running the plays that they're running. And you have to go back and you got to find your college defensive coaches that have coached against the option and the read option and the midline option and things that go with that. And, it's a difficult test getting ready for it. And then when the game starts, I think it's different. It's not Tebow mania, in my opinion. I think what happens is they run the ball so many times, whether it's him, or running backs running it, and they start to wear you out. So if they can keep the score close, I think then in the end they have a chance to win, and they're winning against a tired group of defenders.
Very good. We got another one. Oh, guess what? It's about Tim again. Who deserves more credit for the Denver Broncos' success, Tim Tebow or the Broncos' defense? I'm going to start with this one because I don't think anything bugs me more. If I'm going to get on my soapbox about anything, about our job, about the NFL, is that at some point we had to start giving more credit to one part of a team than the other. It boggles my mind because, as you know better than anyways, but we all have experienced this. This is the ultimate team game. This is 53 guys completely invested, a coaching staff, a front office, everything that goes into it. And somehow people want to be so simple-minded, just say, oh, well, they won because of Jerry Rice. It had nothing to do with Joe Montana or Ronnie Lott or Roger Craig. I mean, it's the same thing going on here. Who cares who gets more credit? This is a great story.
I think it's a great story, but it's a sexy story to the fans. And when the fans realize that it is more than just Tim Tebow, but we're in the middle of this Tim Tebow mania. When you go back to Kyle Orton, what was the record when Kyle Orton was at quarterback? So he injects a lot of great things into the rest of his football team. The guys play, they believe in him. So when you start to believe in your head coach, and you start to believe in your running game and your defense, and all those sorts of things, they go the extra mile to get things accomplished. So it's him, but it's also all the rest of the team, including the coaches, because he has now allowed the coaches to dig into their bag of tricks and come up with a different way and a different game plan to be successful, Todd.
That being said, though, I do think the defense has been integral in this success story because as you studied tape early in the season and the defense wasn't playing the same way that they started to play about at the midway point, this game's about scoring more points than your opponent. And if your opponent can put 20, 25, 30 points on the board, it's going to be very difficult for an offense that's playing the way they're playing to score those kind of points. And also to the point of you saying Tebow mania, one thing I'll say, having coached receivers, and we got a couple great ones up here tonight for as long as I did, to get them to buy into blocking for 50, 55 plays and knowing that it might be for one little morsel crumb, late in the game on a big play. There's been a lot of convincing going on, and you got to give credit to the coaches, to Tim, to the guys themselves, because they're doing the work of blocking tight end right now for most of the game, and then they get their one chance to shine, and they make plays when they have to, obviously. So, I think that credit goes across the board.
I don't have a problem with that. I was a blocking receiver.
He knew it.
Down inside. So I can understand that and relate to those guys, what they're going through. But with this offense and this defense, the coaches, all of that, it's a team effort. We all know that. But this defense is keeping everything close. And if they keep it close like that, I think Tebow can come in and win that game.
Well, let's change the play. I want to see you blocking later on. As a Redskin fan, nothing would pain me more than to see the Cowboys win the division. Will the Giants pull it out, Jerry?
I think I'm going with the Giants. And the reason why I'm going with the Giants, just watching Eli in the fourth quarter, he done won 5 games. He's playing outstanding football right now. And I feel like the Dallas Cowboys are going in the other direction right now. The reason why against Arizona with Jason Garrett pretty much his kicker, and what happened last week with the block field goal, I feel like they're going in the opposite direction. They had 1-4 and they just lost 2 in a row. So I'm going with the Giants.
I know you're going with the Giants, too. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I'm going to fight the grain here a little bit. I still think this is a team, the Giants, that when they put it together has the potential to be a stronger football team. I see both sides of the ball. They're thick, they're long, they're strong. They're the type of team that can kind of squish you, impose their will on you. Yes, they found ways to lose. I get it. But I think this is a team that has developed some mental toughness through the last couple of years. You can hear it in their voices as they try to move on from these heartbreaks the last couple of weeks. I think that, with their physical makeup, key is why I'm going with the Cowboys.
Well, when I look at the Dallas Cowboys, fourth quarter obviously is out there. They're terrible. But when I watch the Giants, and I go back to 2007, having sit in the same stadium, watch the Giants play the Patriots, undefeated, and then come to this year, 2011, same situation. Went to the game. I had a chance to watch the Giants play the Green Bay Packers, an undefeated team. And I turned to some friends in there and I said, the Giants are going to go on the road from here because of the way they played New England then, the way they played Green Bay this year. Now they're starting to play better. They're running the football with force. Eli Manning is having, I had to go back and look again and again, having the best year of his entire career. Right. And you're not really saying this because there's other quarterbacks that are playing great as well. I mean, so when you look at that, you have to think that the Giants are probably going to win the division based on the teams that they're going to play. They have 3 straight games at home. Where the Cowboys, they have to go on the road a couple times.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you, Keyshawn. You know, I think the Giants are.
Does that hurt? Do you have to agree with them?
No.
Oh, okay.
I know Keyshawn always says what he feels. Help him stuff.
Now you tell the truth, Coach.
No, you do that. But I think they're starting to play good at the right time, and they are a well-rounded team. And when your quarterback's playing as well as Eli is down the stretch in the fourth quarter, you know, that's hard to beat.
We got more of this coming up next on Audibles.
Pittsburgh's James Harrison gets a 1-game suspension for his hit on Colt McCoy. Was the punishment too severe? Our experts discuss next on Audibles.
West champion 49ers fight to keep home field advantage in the conference. Two legendary franchises clash.
Coach, this one's for you first. Why do you think James Harrison keeps getting targeted by the NFL?
Well, I don't know that he is getting targeted. I think that he plays a physical brand of football, and you know, with some of the rules that have been put in place, you know, for player safety's sake, that you know, certain guys are gonna show up sometime or another because you know, they play physical and he runs hard, and he's looking for somebody to hit on every play. So there's just going to be more opportunities to catch him, you know, to have the wrong result, you know, to have a Colt McCoy result happen. And, you know, and then I think then you got to do what you got to do.
I like it. I mean, I like his play.
Yeah.
I like the physical nature.
Have you heard one NFL player that sits in our seats complain about him or?
Now, the problem that you have there is it's going to hurt the football team at some point in time. Because you have to have a guy like this on the field for your defense to be successful. Now, they've been successful without him before. But when you're missing this piece, it hurts the football team. And he's not, you know, you hear everybody says, well, he needs to change the way that he's playing, no matter what they say. I don't think he needs to change at all. He needs to continue to keep playing that way. But whenever you talk about the commissioner in Men's Journal, as he did during the lockout, said some nasty things, of course there's a target on your back. You think the commissioner forgot about those things? Not at all, Jerry.
Oh yeah, he's a force on the football field. He plays very physical. You know, he can change the game. He can do all of that, but you have to still play within the rules. And with Colt McCoy on that play where he got suspended, he led with his helmet.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. Now we want this guy to be you know, the enforcer on the football field, but you got to play by the rules. You got to do that.
Colt started scrambling. Right before he got to the line of scrimmage, he delivered the football and he opened up. Had he just slid or got down, protected himself, that hit wouldn't have happened. Now you're talking about, what's Colt McCoy, 6 foot?
6'1.5".
And James Harrison is 5'11". So you're going to have helmet to helmet.
That's what I was going to say. If you look at Harrison's all his tackles, he tackles the same way every time, and just some positions he's going to get into or somebody else is going to get into that it's unavoidable.
And I think that's the issue. And I think it's irresponsible of the league in many ways to try to enforce a rule, especially with suspension, when you're asking too much of the player. You can't be running full speed. Now, we're not defensive players, but we've been around a lot of them.
Right.
These guys are running so fast, and everything around them is moving so fast, and they have a small little target as defined by the league. Then they're asking them to change that target midway through the process. I think it's an impossible ass.
There was no way he could change his launch point with Colt McCoy.
That's my point. You can't do
It has always been fun and thrilling to watch the Steelers and the Ravens compete for the AFC North title. Who wins it this year, Trent? Since you played for the Ravens. And won the Super Bowl, by the way.
It's a hard one. I mean, both teams are so well-rounded. And they're really complete football teams. Now the Ravens this year have had the Steelers' number. I thought
Twice.
Yeah, I know. I thought the last drive when Flacco took him down the field and had the phenomenal throw to Torrey Smith after one was dropped earlier in the drive, I thought that might have been the hump that the Steelers needed to get over. The Ravens need to go over to have the confidence to say we can make a late game heroic push against a team that's kind of owned us. I think that momentum carries over. I think the Ravens might do it.
I don't think you can predict it. I just don't. I think both these teams, we played the Ravens in the Kansas City Chiefs played the Ravens in the preseason and the Steelers in the regular season, and I think these two teams are pretty evenly matched. It's going to come down to who's healthy at the time that they play, where they play in the game, and then it's going to come down to who's got the last opportunity to win, and I think it's unpredictable.
Yeah, I like both teams, and very physical teams. The way Terrell Suggs is playing right now, I'm curious, about Big Ben. What's going to happen with him with that high ankle sprain. But if I give the edge to anyone, if it should end up in a tie, then we know because with the Ravens, they beat Pittsburgh twice, that they would win the division.
Well, I think the Baltimore Ravens could win the division. I'm not counting Pittsburgh out. I'm a little afraid of the style of play that Baltimore would bring to the table the next 3 games. Mm-hmm. We don't really know. One week they want to make Joe Flacco a Hall of Fame quarterback. The next week they want to run Ray Rice. Ray Lewis has been out for 4 weeks now. We'll see him coming back to action this week. So when you look at all of that, you still don't really know which team. Mm-hmm. You just don't know. It's too close to call.
All right, we got another audible here. Has Eli Manning put his money where his mouth is and proven he is an elite quarterback in the NFL, Jerry?
Over 4,000 yards. Like I said, he won 5 games in the fourth quarter. And what he showed me against Dallas, his composure towards the end, being able to lead that team downfield to win that football game. I think you have to put him up there as an elite quarterback. And I know Keyshawn is probably going to say no, but you have to put him up there.
I'm not going to say no. I've had a chance to watch him live, and I've had a chance to watch him now for several weeks. If I take the name off the back of the jersey, do we look at him as an elite quarterback, or do we look at him as a quarterback just having a good year?
It's one of the first times Keyshawn hasn't instant evaluated. He's the biggest IE of all time.
That's called instant evaluator. So
IE.
When I look at that, though, I'm starting to think, he's coming, he's getting there. I don't know that he's there yet. He's getting there. I think if he wins this division, and to me, he's the only team that could go into Green Bay, the Giants, and beat Green Bay. He's done it before. He played them close to the vest a couple weeks ago. So, I guess he would be elite.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing quarterback at an elite level. I mean, he's a guy that's masking flaws of his offense. And I think when I study the great quarterbacks in this league, there's guys that need the system to be successful. And there's nothing wrong with that. Then there's the guys, the term I use is they play above or beyond the X's and O's.
Well, when you say system, they're running the football better.
They are. He was playing good when they weren't running it. And I would say this is the first year I've seen Eli play above the X's and O's every week. The play doesn't have to be perfect. They don't have to run the ball well. They don't have to block great, and he's still making plays.
Yeah, and there's really not many quarterbacks out there that can carry the team, carry the offense when they don't have a lot of help around him. But I think that he's shown, it's not on an every week opportunity that it occurs, but he's done it. And you've said a couple of things that I thought immediately when the question came up is he's won a Super Bowl. The fashion in which they won the Super Bowl with him playing quarterback, he's an elite quarterback, and you'll always be able to say, well, he's gone to Green Bay and beat them, and he's the guy that took all the snaps. So I say he is an elite quarterback.
You got it. We're just getting started. More coming up next on Audible.
You would know.
Tim Tebow versus Tom Brady. Is this the week the Mile High magic ends? Our expert predictions are coming up next.
Easy installments of $44.95. Call 1-800-TW-CABLE and order NHL Center Ice today.
Welcome back to Audibles, presented by Best Buy.
Let's jump right in an Audible. Let's start off. How could Tim Tebow beat Tom Brady and the Patriots? I was going to say just, never mind, I won't say that. Go ahead, Todd, answer that for me.
Well, I think some of the things we said, they got to, the defense has to play real well. And, to hold Tom Brady to minimal points in a game is very difficult. Now, the weather, we don't know what the weather's going to be like. There could be some variables that make it tough to score points, but their defense has to play well, number one. And number two, then, he has to protect the football and do some of the things he's been doing, which is something that's overlooked a bunch, I think. This guy's handling the ball 60, 70 times, and a lot of the times it's reading options, handing off, not handing off, and he's not turning it over. You got to, that's the formula for success.
I'm thinking individual matchups, and with Champ Bailey being on Rob Gronkowski, you got to take that tight end out of the game, because if you line him up on
corner can't
a safety or a linebacker, he's going to be able to expose that individual. If they can maintain, if that defense can maintain, slow them down just a little bit, not let them put so many points on the board, I think with Tebow, he can come in and he can move the ball downfield. And we know that he's not going to get off to a fast start. Mm-hmm. He's not going to start fast, but he's going to finish strong. So if they can keep it close, I feel
this is a scary game in the sense that you don't really want to go against the Denver Broncos right now, because they're playing good football. Yeah. They're rolling. I mean, the moment that you say, they can't, then they do. All I can point to, and I'm not taking anything away from Tim Tebow, so out there, please don't think that I'm doing this. I just look at the quarterbacks that they've played in the past, and the one guy that's been able to kind of sort of expose this defense was Matthew Stafford. Mm-hmm. But then when you start to, yes, he got Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is having a bad year. He got the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, they didn't have no quarterback, or Ty wouldn't be here with us. You look at the other teams. In Minnesota, young quarterback. The Raiders, Carson Palmer off the couch. Mm-hmm. Now you're bringing in Tom Brady. It's a different deal for that defense. It's going to be a different deal.
I agree. It's a legit argument. I can see why people think this is going to be a Patriots blowout. I do think, though, the Broncos, with what they do, and you played right after the Raiders, right? Mm-hmm. And you saw the read option, the midline option. You saw the effect this guy, Tim Tebow, can have as a ball carrier. If you're playing the Patriots, you want to shrink the game. You want to take away a possession or two. The way you do that is a high number of carries, correct? When your quarterback can be another ball carrier, and you can convert a large amount of third and shorts, and you can shrink the game, you put more pressure on Tom Brady with each possession.
That's where I think, though, Trent, Belichick has seen enough games now, and what I've thought all along here should have been done with Tebow is you take a DB off the field and you void the middle of the field and you make that extra defender either a lineman or a linebacker, whoever your next best player is, and you force them to beat you throwing. Everybody says that, but these defensive coaches,
doing it. I know.
It's easy to say. They want the security of that post safety to make up for anybody's, and the corners want that post safety. They don't want to be told, hey, there's not going to be a safety behind you. You got to cover. They don't like that. They don't care whether it's Tom Brady or Tim Tebow. I've learned that it's some hard convincing.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to our Facebook ESPN poll question. Who wins Sunday's game? Okay, the Patriots or the Broncos? Now, who do you guys think will win this football game? Let's go around the horn. I'll start with you, Trent.
I do think it'll be the Patriots, but I think it'll be a lot closer than people think.
I'm going with the Patriots, and because of Tom Brady and that offense, but that defense is suspect.
I was going to go with Patriots, but now I don't like to just follow what are you going to do?
I'm going to take the Patriots because, with all said, the weather, that's not a problem for them. Did you see them play against the Chicago Bears and it was snowing? I mean, that doesn't matter, but I think there's too much offensive firepower. And that defense, I'm just not sold on yet.
Just because of you three, I'm going to go Denver.
Okay. Well, you would know. I mean, you played against both of them.
All right, we got another arbiter. Does Aaron Rodgers already have the MVP wrapped up, even with Breeze, Brady, and Manning having record seasons themselves? What do you think, Keith?
Yeah, when you look at it, Brady won in 2007. Mm-hmm. Record-breaking season.
This is a
undefeated. No-brainer.
No-brainer. It's not even...
This guy is unbelievable.
We've never seen anything like it. I mean, when you have other Hall of Fame quarterbacks, you have other guys that have done it better than anybody else saying, never seen anything like it.
And the thing is, they're not scheming either. They're just doing the same thing over and over again. And he just hits the open guy, and if there's nobody open, he hits him anyway.
And it doesn't matter who's on the football field, And right now, I read some crazy stuff. This guy, he has like 57 touchdowns or more as a team. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Real quick, Trent. With all the studying of the 900 hours of film that you got,
yeah, right.
Will they miss Greg Jennings at all?
I think a little bit. I mean, they have great depth. I mean, you put Donald Driver in there now. I mean, you guys made some great points on Countdown, why they won't miss him a lot. I do think this, though. When I was talking to Aaron about kind of what has changed and what's helped them a lot, it was moving Greg into the slot. It let them move other pieces around. Todd just said it. They run about, 12, 15 pass concepts max? Over and over and over.
That's all you need.
And they put different people in different places.
That's all you need.
But Greg was always the centerpiece. Mm-hmm. Jennings was always the centerpiece of all those formations. I don't think they're going to struggle. I just think there'll be an adjustment period for the next few weeks.
Well, I think that was his really his security blanket right there with Greg Jennings. But he got so many other weapons on that field. And to me, Aaron Rodgers is just like a little kid. It's Christmas right now. He's going to go to Toys R Us or something like that. That's many toys that he can play with out there. And all he has to do is just sit back and orchestrate that offense and just really
Let's change the plan and move on to another quarterback. Can the Texans actually make any noise with TJ Yates at the helm? I think that they can. I'm going to answer this. I think that they can. Right now, they are the leaders of the pack. They're 10-3, and they're first in the conference. So if the season ended today, they would have a first-round bye, and people would have to come to them to play. The last two games, the starting quarterback position for him, he's delivering the football. He's not turning the football over. They're running the ball. Andre Johnson will come back healthy at some point in time. Defensively, they're the number one defense with Wade Phillips right now. That, for a guy, I know quarterbacks hate this, Trent. Give him the keys just to manage to drive the bus. I know. But
listen, Hall of Fame quarterbacks say it's that.
Yeah,
that's
Steve's
a big
not
part
here
of the job.
for me to pick on him, so I have to pick on him.
I'm saying no. When I saw the celebration of finally getting over the hump, I'm afraid that might have been their Super Bowl.
Really? Emotionally, not enough edge.
Haven't been there with the team, getting there for the first time. It's a tough thing to get over.
So you don't think if they make, well, they are going to make it to playoffs. You don't think that they could somehow get one of those teams, a Pittsburgh back in there with him at the quarterback and make some noise getting into the deep and run into the playoffs?
I don't know. They can run the ball and they're playing defense, but I don't think they can play as good a defense as the other teams we're talking about.
I agree with that. I'm sorry, Jerry. I agree with that. And I also, another fear I have, and you lived this with Matt last year a little bit in the playoffs. When you are a ball control offense and you make a lot of hay throwing the ball on early downs, you can struggle in some of those must-pass situations, especially in the playoffs. You get a young player, and I love TJ Yates. I think he's going to be a starter in this league for a long time. But you get a few 3rd and 7s in a playoff atmosphere when everybody in the building, everybody on TV knows you throw the ball. It is very difficult for young players.
Even at home?
Yes, even at home. It's very hard to respond to those situations.
Guys, it's been a long time since this team, been in a position where they could celebrate a little bit. I think the last time was like 2002. But I like TJ Yates, and the reason why, I think with Kubiak, when Liner went down, also when Sharp went down, he did not cut down.
You're a West Coaster.
Or anything like that. He kept everything the same.
I just saw
everything the same. And the reason why, with Yates, on that final drive, this guy was like a 10-year veteran.
He showed a lot of poise.
He showed a lot of poise. So I feel like this team can't.
What he did in college, it's what he is doing now. So playoff.
They are. All right, we got another one here. Despite what Jerry Jones said, is Jason Garrett on the hot seat if the Cowboys don't make the playoffs?
I think
you love firing coaches.
It's not that I love firing coaches. I like being right. That's the bottom line. And in this situation, whenever in the past, whenever an owner's come out,
I should be fired.
I actually took off
camera.
We'll have another conversation about that off camera. I think whenever an owner comes out and he gives this vote of confidence to a coach that